It's May 2nd, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a message hidden in plain sight, a life ending quietly, and a queen pulled into a deadly plot. Let's begin. On May 2nd, 1966, under the harsh glare of studio lights in North Vietnam, a prisoner sat perfectly still, his face calm, his voice controlled, but his eyes were telling a different story. His name was Jeremiah Denton, a U.S. Navy pilot who had been shot down months earlier and taken into captivity. Now, he was being forced into a carefully staged propaganda interview, designed to convince the world that American prisoners were being treated humanely. The cameras rolled, the script was simple: smile, speak calmly, and repeat what they told him, and he did. But something was wrong. As he spoke, his eyes began to blink, slowly, deliberately, and unnatural. At first, it looked like irritation from the bright lights, but to those who watched closely, it was something else entirely. Because each blink, Denton was spelling out a message in Morse code. T-O-R-T-U-R-E, torture. Back in the US, Naval Intelligence Analytics reviewed the footage. Then they decoded it. This was the first undeniable proof that American prisoners of war were being tortured inside. In a moment, the truth slipped through, hidden in plain sight. But the secrets don't stay hidden forever. When his captors realized what he had done, Denton was brutally punished. Years of isolation followed, interrogations, darkness, and silence. Yet he survived. And after nearly 8 years in captivity, he walked free in 1973, stepping off a plane as one of the first returning prisoners. He spoke louder than anyone ever could, without even saying a single word. On May 2nd, 1915, in the quiet darkness of Boleyn Garden, a single gunshot echoed, one that would never be fully explained. Clara Immerwahr was no ordinary woman. She was a pioneer, the first woman to earn her doctorate in chemistry from her university. But her brilliance had been quietly buried beneath the shadows of her husband, Fitz Haber, a man who would soon change warfare forever. Just days earlier, Haber had overseen the first large-scale chemical attack. Chlorine gas drifted silently across the battlefield, suffocating thousands. To Germany, it was a breakthrough. To Clara, it was a betrayal of science itself. On that night, their home was filled with celebration. Officers toast, glass clinked, and victory was in the air. But in the early morning, after a quiet, devastating argument, Clara stepped outside into the garden. She carried her husband's military pistol with no witnesses and no explanations. A single shot. Her 13-year-old son, Herman, found her dying, collapsed into his arms, and faded into the night sky. There were no notes, no final message, only silence. And then something even colder. Haber left the very next morning to oversee another gas attack, and he never publicly spoke of her death. No investigations followed, no answers came. A small newspaper mentioned it days later, but then the story faded. Was it an act of protest or something far more personal, buried beneath? On May 2nd, 1536, the fate of a queen shifted in a single shot. A silent moment, the glittering halls of Greenwich Palace. Anne Boleyn had once been the most powerful woman in England, a woman who changed the kingdom and captured the obsession of Henry VIII, and even helped fracture an entire church. But on this day, everything began to unravel. It started quietly, court gathering, and then, without warning, Anne was summoned. Moments later, she was under arrest. No trial, no explanation, only whispers. She watched as her own brother George was taken as well. They were accused of the unthinkable: adultery, betrayal, and even incest. Within hours, she was placed on a barge and sent towards the Tower of London, the same place that she had once entered in triumph before her coronation. Now it waited for her again, only this time, gates closed behind her. Inside those stone walls, the charges multiplied. 5 men named as her lovers, 1 that confessed, and many believed it was forced. The rest denied everything, but the truth no longer mattered. 17 days is all it took. On May 19th, she would walk calmly to the scaffolding of Green Tower. A swordsman waited, brought in for precision. She knelt, spoke carefully, and in a single motion, it was over. And just days later, Henry was engaged again. Was Anne Boleyn guilty, or simply an obstacle Henry had to remove? Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.